Hello and welcome to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. My name is Omar Pinto, the host of the Share Podcast and a founding member of the SRC, the Share Recovery Community. In the SRC, we have a number of live online recovery meetings every week on a number of different topics. This podcast is only one example of the content provided to our members. In this meeting, a chapter of the Tao Te Ching is discussed every week as to how it relates to recovery. I hope you enjoy this week's podcast episode.
I'd like to welcome everyone to the January 17th Tao Te Ching discussion. Let's take a moment and get centered and just create some emptiness so we can maybe hear something outside of ourselves or deep within ourselves today. Just take a moment of silence and rope it in. Okay. Today we're going, I'd like to welcome Kate and Marla and Craig and Datori. Is that right, Datori?
That's right.
Okay, thank you, sir. And Melissa, good to have you guys today. We're going to be doing something a little different today. We're going to have a topic meeting, which we normally do not have. Normally we follow a chapter of the Tao Te Ching. Like I think last time was 27, so we'll be up to chapter 28 probably next week. But today we're going to talk about a concept, well, really is a lot bigger than Taoism, which is Wu Wei, which is effortless effort, is what that's called. That's how you spell it, W-U-W-E-I. And we had a discussion last week. Marla's looking for a job. Are you still looking for a job, Marla?
Yes.
Okay. And we were talking about how to have this effortless effort that we look for in everything, how to go about finding a job but do it in that manner, what that would mean, what that would look like in real life. So I asked last week that anyone that wanted to do any research, find any quotes, go to the great Google and look, or, the Tao Te Ching or anywhere, any books, and see what they found. So I think we all brought a few quotes maybe just to discuss and just to see. So who would like to begin? Craig, is your time limited? Are you better to go now or go later? I know you're having to work during this thing. Well, he's working, so we'll go with someone first. Who would like to start? Kate, you want to start?
Yeah,
okay.
I can start. Okay, so my first one is from the second chapter of the Tao Te Ching. Okay, so it starts with, things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. I think it's from the second. Yep, it's right at the bottom here. Things arise and she lets them come. Things disappear and she lets them go. She has but doesn't possess. Acts but doesn't expect. So I thought that was kind of like acceptance of change, letting things come and go, and going to the effort of like looking for a job, and so acting and going to that work and doing that, but not having expectations about it.
Okay. So she acts without expectation. That's a big, in this, that's everywhere, is this acting without expectation. Letting go of the expectation. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
I'm actually in the middle of all this because the topic came up because I'm looking for a job. Oh my goodness, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, I'm menopausal. I had a good interview the other day.
Excellent.
And as I was telling Buddy, and I'm trying to live right now without having any attachment to getting a second interview or I'm not fantasizing working with them or anything like that I used to do. And I'm not praying to some God either to, please, get me this job. None of that this time. So I just wanted to interject that in there.
Marla, it has to really, for me, if I don't believe things are working out like they're supposed to, I can't do this. Because if there's not a force, if there's not a steady force behind everything, working the whole thing out like it's supposed to be, then I'm going to try to take control and make it work the way I want it.
Yeah.
So I really have to have a deep confidence that I'm going to find the job I'm supposed to have if I'm in that situation.
I'm moving into that space. It feels right.
Yes. It's doing what's natural, right?
I guess so. Yeah. Oh, who would have thought?
Yeah. Finally. About time.
Yeah, really.
What's your next one there, Kate?
Okay, so the next one is from the 8th chapter.
Okay.
And it says, this is from the second translation. When you are content to be simply yourself and don't compare or compete, everybody will respect you. I was thinking about that, being true to yourself and not worrying about what other people you're up against, because I think when I was applying for jobs, I was really concerned about, who I would be competing against. And it makes me kind of insecure when I'm trying to sell myself, like I'm good, you should hire me.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, am I really good enough? Am I as good as the other employees or the other applicants, So this one made me think, like, don't compare or compete, be content to be simply yourself. I thought that was really good kind of advice.
Yeah, definitely.
So the only way I can be content to be myself is if I'm comfortable that everything is as it should be. I keep going back to that. Mm-hmm. Because if I don't believe that, how can I be content? Because I'm always pushing, forcing.
Right.
Yeah,
that's the woo way.
Yeah. This is it. And the way you're content, I think the way you become content is just being yourself. Just doing what comes natural. Not trying to put on airs, not trying to, I've been in things where, you think you have to push, you have to make yourself look better than this person or that person or the whole, that whole thing, that whole game that goes with that, and
you just drive yourself crazy thinking that way.
Yeah. So when you go for an interview, Marla.
Pardon me?
So when you go for an interview.
Yeah.
This would mean you would need to be honest about your experience. and how long you have, like if you're doing a yoga interview, right? You're going for yoga jobs. Is that what you're doing?
Actually, no. This is a job in furniture, interior design.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
That's what I was before.
Okay. Well, let's say that. You're not going to lie about how many years of experience you've had or paint a picture that is not a true picture of who you are or what you've done. And you're going to try not to compare or compete in the process. You're just going to share who you are.
I'm going to try.
Yeah.
You know.
That's what this is saying, I think. You know, if you were looking at this, you know. Any other comments, anybody?
Chime in, anyone.
Chime in if you want to. No big deal.
Yeah.
Chime in anytime.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Excellent. Right. I've left my notes at home, but just what Buddy was saying there about just being honest and being yourself. Sometimes a lot of these companies like people that don't have any experience because they don't have any bad habits that they need to iron out. I know we do as an employer that we prefer people that have no knowledge of what we actually do. That way we can teach them our bad habits rather than bringing them.
Speak up a little bit for us, Craig.
Right, as employers, we like people to have no experience because we can teach them our bad habits without them bringing their own bad habits into the fold as well.
You're talking about bringing in bad habits?
What he was saying was that as an employer with the business he works for, they like hiring people that are fresh, that they don't already have bad habits of the work, that they can train them the way they want them to be trained.
Yeah, that's ageism.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get political. But
That's okay. Yeah, please don't, Marla. Not already. We're not even 15 minutes in. Come on. Okay. Who else? Anybody else got something, or we need to go on to Kate's next quote?
Let's
Kate,
go on.
Yes, do it. Kate?
Okay, the next one is from chapter 9. And it's right at the end. Do your work, then step back, the only path to serenity. And I thought that could be applied in terms of applying for a job, you know, having an element of detachment to it. So you're not just thinking about it all the time and kind of obsessing over it. Just kind of focusing on it, doing it, and then stepping back.
I like the way the last one says it. Do what you have to do, then walk away. Anything else will drive you nuts. That's so true.
Yep.
So we're seeing detachment. We're seeing letting go. We're seeing put in the application, then letting go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It is a path to serenity. My mind's not going in a million different directions. It's great.
Kate, you've got any more?
So the next thing I was thinking about was like the entire of chapter 11, which is, you know, the thing about the emptiness. So it's all about, you know, we join spokes together in a wheel, but it is the center hole that makes the wagon move. We shape clay into a pot, but it is the emptiness inside that holds whatever we want. We hammer wood for a house, but it is the inner space that makes it livable. We work with being, but non-being is what we use. So, you know, you look for a job, you go about that effort like joining spokes or hammering wood. But the overall like goal is trying to find that emptiness or non-being, you know, in life. So kind of like the philosophy of life, even though we're doing this work. I don't know. What do other people think about that one in terms of work?
It all works. All of these apply.
Yeah.
All of them apply.
For me, I have to the goal seems to be to find emptiness, to leave room in whatever it is that I'm doing. If I'm, and that reminds me of a beatitude that says that when we find ourselves full of care, we'll be cared for. That's creating emptiness because I've surrendered in that. And I think surrendering in the process of finding a job can create some emptiness. Even like we've talked before in meditation, the point is to create empty. It seems everything that I do, the ultimate goal is to create emptiness. No matter what it is that I'm doing. Meditation, I create emptiness. And, you know, we're doing this book study on letting go. It's about creating emptiness. It's about letting go. It's about you getting out of the way and surrendering. So, yeah, this emptiness is a major part of what we have to, part of our whole practice. Just look at, if you follow a 12-step program, the first 3 steps are about being powerless and turning your will and your life over to the care of a higher power. And that is creating emptiness. So, yeah, that's spot on. So I guess the question would be, if I'm looking for a job and I have a particular application I'm putting in, how do I create emptiness in that? Or how do I create emptiness when I'm starting to look and I don't even have anywhere to put in an application? Well, for me, that would be me spending some time in meditation and prayer and reminding myself and my higher power that I am powerless over finding the right job, that I have to turn my care and my life pertaining to my job and finding this job over to my higher power. I have to surrender that whole process. For me, that would be the first step of creating some emptiness there.
Yeah, step 1.
Yeah. 1, 2, and 3, Marla. The whole thing, all 3, right together, you know. That's how I would approach it. Anyone else have a comment on that? Okay, we'll continue then. Guys, y'all don't have to comment. I know this gets heavy, so you don't have to say a word. I'm not going to call on you, okay? I'll call on Craig and Kate because we're here every week, but new folks, I will not do that to you, so don't worry about that. You're welcome just to listen, and if you got something, chime in. Kate, what else do you have? You ready?
That's what I have.
Oh, that's a lot. Thank you.
That was meaty. Really good.
Okay, who's next? You gonna go with yours, Marla?
I found a few quotes this morning.
Oh, hey, Kirsty, how are you? I didn't see you there.
Hi, I'm okay, thank you, buddy.
We're discussing Wu Wei, effortless effort.
Yeah.
Marla's looking for a job, and we're talking about all the ways to apply the things that we've been learning in the process of her finding employment. So, very practical today. Trying to be anyway.
We're talking about detaching from, not the process, but detaching from the end result.
Mm-hmm.
And finding emptiness.
Yeah.
Emptiness in that, and how to leave room for our higher power to have room to do some action in that. You know, how we do that, the mechanics of it, really. I'm sorry, Marla, go ahead. I interrupted.
No, that's all right. The first one I found, it's just one, I just looked for quotes this morning. Act without action. I had to think about that one for a minute. That's the question, is how do I go about, the mechanics of it, looking, actually physically looking and finding without going crazy, without being attached to the end result. The next one is, those who act will fail, those who seize will lose. He, the sage, wants all things to follow their own nature, but dares not act. The sage does not act and therefore does not fail, does not seize, and therefore does not lose. So that to me says, it looks like it says to me, don't do anything. Don't do anything. So, and it will come, just let the universe take care of you. I've heard that a lot. And I wondered how you do that without action. And this is saying act without action.
Well, I think it's the same as effortless effort, okay? It's still effort.
Mm-hmm.
It's just in an effortless way. It's in a natural, non-forced, non-pushed way. Maybe, and this is a phrase, the effort is trusting you're doing the right thing rather than force or push to get what you want.
That's a big one as well.
Talking about, that's what you're saying, though, action and non-action.
Yeah.
There's action. It's just like if you go to a meeting and they say it works if you work it. And I heard that and I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? I'm working it, but it's not working. What am I doing wrong?
I remember that line.
And, and I'm like, what does that mean? So that's the same with this effortless effort business, I get hung up on the effortless part because I want everything to be effortless. And I forget about the effort part. It's both.
Trust the universe. It'll come for you.
Yeah, yeah.
And lay back and do nothing.
No, we have some work, though,
Yes.
And we can't lay down on the couch and watch, Melrose Place reruns and just wait on it to come to us, don't we have something to do more than that,
Of course. We have to do our work.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead with your next one. I'll chime in.
No, that was about where I left off.
Okay.
So it was. I've been in it all week, and I just wanted to discuss it a little bit more so I could start, moving out of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Is that all do you have anything else?
Yeah. No, not this morning.
Okay. Cool. Craig, do you have anything? Being you forgot your notes. There you go.
I'm just looking up my Tao at the moment.
Oh, okay.
I was reminded of the just a couple of comments that have been said. I've reminded about a couple of verses that we've spoke about already. One was if you keep your feet on the ground, you don't come off balance, or something along those lines. And it could be the same with if you're putting out too many applications and you're overselling yourself. Sometimes you can come across as overqualified for some of the jobs that you're doing. I think sometimes if we build ourselves up too much, we kind of let ourselves in for a bigger fall. And it's the same if we think, if we get into the mindset of, I've got this job until I don't have it, you're kind of building yourself up, but you're also prepared for the fact that there's something at the back of it that possibly you won't get the job. So you're not as deflated going forward. So you've still got that. You've still got that constant level of applying for things, going for the interviews, and hopefully getting the job. But at the same time, if we don't get the job, then our ego's not that deflated that it puts us off actually doing anything else. So it keeps us in the cycle of actually doing things. The other thing was the 10,000 chariots. I can't get that out of my head from the other week. Just letting things run away with us and not keeping our hands and our eyes on things that are starting to run away. It's always good to follow up on things, but at the same time, it's always good to do it in a way that you're not pushing yourself onto people. You're not pressing your will and your way onto other people. More particularly if you're trying to get a job, because that can put some people off. There's a difference between being keen and being too assertive.
So that was Lala had that, didn't she? On
that was right.
Chariots.
Yep, it was the yep. It was the.
Explain. Do you remember it exactly? What you remember from that?
Well, what I remember from it was in the Tao we talk about the 10,000, which is everything. Everything is described as the 10,000. What we were discussing a couple of weeks ago was there was references to chariots and 10,000 chariots rather than just the 10,000. So what Lara put the analogy to was rather than having these 10,000 things all in one place, if you imagine them as chariots and these things are all running away with you. So you're trying to keep up with this, you're trying to keep up with that, and it's very difficult. It's very difficult if you're not concentrating on what you're doing. So if you're letting your mind wander, taking your eye off the prize, sometimes things will run away with you. And I think just to bring it back to recovery, if we don't concentrate on what we're doing, then basically your recovery and your program's going to run away from you. So I think it's good to keep things simple, keep things basic, and just be organised. Says the most disorganised man in the world.
In Scotland. Don't take the world, just Scotland, Craig.
Yeah. All right, Scotland. All right,
keep with Scotland.
You're talking about overdoing, which is a really good point.
Yeah.
My age is not with me, because the fact that I'm in my 50s is not a bonus. It's a negative.
Well, there's the bonus that you have experience. You have, I tend to get caught in this cycle of education versus experience. And I think we've spoke about this in a Tao reference as well. A lot of people say, right, you need the education. And then some employers will say, right, well, you need the experience. And I think that you can have as many letters after your name as you want. But I think until you've actually got the experience of what you're actually doing, I think that counts a lot more than a bit of paper with no experience does. I think it really depends on the type of job that you're going for. Obviously, if you're going for a brain surgeon, it helps to know what you're doing.
Trust me, I'm not.
Sometimes. I've got one from verse 17 that's just brought to mind. The best leaders value their words and use them sparingly. And when she has accomplished a task, the people say, amazing, we did it all by ourselves. So we've done everything ourselves, we've done all the work ourselves, we've not relied on too many external forces, we've basically just put ourselves forward, we've put the applications in, we've been honest, we've been upfront, we are where we are, and we get the job. And that's it, job done. Then you're going to be a multi-millionaire, and you're going to remember us all.
I think about it like throwing dice. You rattle, you throw them, and when you let those go, from that point on, you really have no control over what happens, okay?
Right.
And a lot of this is the same kind of thing, is that we have our work to do, we do our part, and then we're done with it. I don't try to grab them or when they hit the ground, change them around to something I want. I can't do that, So I've got to just let that go. Same kind of thing with this.
And we have to be patient for the natural outcome as well.
I remember a quote, the lot is cast, but every decision is from the Lord. It's an Old Testament proverb. So, the lot is if they're whatever dice or whatever it is they're doing, but the outcome, we have to have some trust that when we let go of something, that it's going to work out like it needs to work out.
Exactly.
Anything else, Craig, or you ready for me?
Do you have the patience to wait till your mud settles and the water is clear? Can you remain unmoving till the right action arises by itself? So do you have the patience to put in the applications, go for the interviews, and just wait for the right job or for you to take the right job? That's how I would look at it. I'm doing you the favour by coming to work for you. At least that's what I tell my employers. I can tell them that.
Another one of my favorites that apply to all of us, really. Stop thinking and end your problems.
Yeah, that should be tattooed. It's like you see it every morning.
Okay, I've got a couple of things. When I started thinking about this, I thought about it because a couple of questions I needed to ask myself. One, do I believe it takes push or force on my part to bring about the job I am looking for? Two, do I believe my God has a job or purpose for my life? If so, am I living in that purpose? If not, why? Third, do I believe everything is as it should be? If I can't let go of those three questions, if I believe I'm in control of any of those three, I can't be at peace in looking for a job. I'm going to push, push, push. Now, I was thinking about what tools I use to get to that place of, being in comfort and ease, no matter what was going on around me, whether everything was the way I thought it should be or not, or, it more than just job, and relationships and family and everything. Big tool I use is gratitude. I can look back, I make specific gratitude lists for different things. If it's financial, I'll make a financial gratitude list of the way I can see my higher powers brought me through stuff that I thought was a problem at the time, but looking back, it was no problem at all. Same with relationships, all these things. And gratitude is a huge tool for me because it doesn't take, it takes faith to believe that things are working out like they should be. You have to have a level of faith for that, a level of belief. But gratitude doesn't take belief, because gratitude, you can look back and see it. That's how I look at that.
That's always number one tool to use.
Yeah. The other tool I thought of was helping someone else find a job, or praying for someone else who is looking for a job, and trying to implement some service into that. I find that as long, if I take that approach of being of service, of being of help, it usually works out for me. I got a couple of Zig Ziglar quotes that apply. I looked outside of the Tao. I've got a bunch of Tao stuff.
Yeah.
But I looked outside of the Tao because I said, this is not something that's just unique to the Tao. This is a spiritual principle that's in any kind of spiritual practice if we look in the right places. I like this one. He said that if you go looking for a friend, you're going to find they're scarce. If you go out to be a friend, you'll find them everywhere. You could apply that same thing. Thanks, Craig. Talk to you later. You can apply the same thing to a job. What if you went in and your attitude was not, what can I get from this company? Or what can this company do for me? What if your attitude was, what can I do for them?
Exactly.
How can I help this company?
Yeah, that was kind of how I was trying to approach the interview. Was, I think I can help you guys out. That approach.
Yes. I think that is the effort that we need to put out, Marla. That is our part. We have a part. And I think our part is looking to how we can add to the flow of life instead of take away from the flow of life. And whatever it is we're talking about, if we're talking about a job or relationship or whatever it is, it's adding to is where the life is, not the taking, not the getting, not the cat clawing, you know. If you know, Zig Ziglar's classic quote that I remembered was, "You'll get all you want in life if you help enough other people get what they want." That's the Tao. I mean, that's any of those things you want to put a tag on it. It's that, you know. And that's when I wrote that the effort is trusting you're doing the right thing rather than the force or push to get what you want.
Yeah.
It's doing what's in front of you to do, the right thing to do, leaving the outcome to your higher power in whatever it is that you're doing. If you're job hunting, okay, who can I help today looking for a job? What companies can I help? What people can I encourage? How can I be a source of encouragement instead of a suck on everybody around me, you know? Because I'm not happy, you know.
Oh.
Do what, Marla?
Nothing. You just hit a note.
I'm sorry. But then I was thinking about a promise in the Tao, like that we could really hold on to, like we hear these promises, like the promises that we read in the big book or whatever, you know. And I thought about the one I like on opening yourself to the Tao, trust your natural responses, and everything will fall into place. That's the 23rd chapter. And that is a real promise. So our part in that would be to just open ourselves up to the Tao. So for me, that would be surrender. That would be offering the moment as a sacrifice, as an offering. It would be letting go. All those things that we learned in our first 3 steps, you know. Mm-hmm. Being powerless. And the way I can be powerless, if I don't know what to do, I encourage somebody else until I see something to do, and then I see that natural thing in front of me to do, and then I can do it. And, you know, I think that a lot of times I was so used to not doing the next right thing or the thing that was natural that I never saw it because I wasn't looking for it. And it took a while before I started seeing those things because I'd push right past it. You know, like the guy that was in the flood that they came along and offered to rescue him. He says, "No, I prayed and God's going to rescue me." Mm-hmm. And he ended up dying, and people kept coming by wanting to help him. And, you know, the story is, you know, when he got to heaven, he asked, "Why didn't you rescue me?" He said, "I did. I sent 3 people by to get you." You know, that kind of thing, you know. So, and I think a lot of times I'm the same way. I know that I don't see the lifeboat, you know. I'll just ignore it because in my little thinking, I've got this box that has these things have to work within. And if it's not working within my box, then I don't see it. So I think that's the emptiness part, could be, where we really have to learn to be open-minded, be willing to see things differently than what we've seen them before. Any comments?
I think the willingness to see things differently than we've seen them before is really good advice, and it's something that we really have to do. But it's also something that is a real struggle. For me, I'm fairly new in recovery, but it's something I try to be mindful of every day and like try to expand my horizons as far as my thinkings. And I have to consciously tell myself, hey, like, see it, look at it a different way, or else I'll see my negative thinking that I'm used to. I'll fall back to that and change it completely. My perspective will just run off with it. But whenever I am mindful of how another way to look at it is whenever I see it clearly and I can move past it. Because if not, I can get stuck on something and see it one way, and I can't see it any other way but that way until I open up my mind to think, okay, that's not the only way you can look at this. So a lot of times I try to look at a different side of things, and it helps me a lot.
Thanks, Satori. That's good. That was hard for me because when I came into recovery, I had everything figured out, you know. I don't know why I was here. I just couldn't stop drinking, but everything else I had figured out. You asked me, I had an answer for everything. I'd been the most successful person in my family. You know, I had things. Why would I listen to anyone? I have it figured out, but I couldn't stop drinking. Then I realized I had very little figured out.
Same here.
Very little. So remaining, you know, one thing that helps me to be open-minded is to have, I have a sponsor. I'm in AA and I have a sponsor, but I'll run things by him. Sometimes I'll run things by my wife, by other friends, because if I have something I'm thinking about doing, I need to verbalize it. I need to get that out instead of keeping it all in my head. So that really helps me to see what thoughts that I'm having that are really just crap and ones that are, you know, have some validity to them, you know. That's good. Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't mind chiming in. I'll try and keep it short. And with regard to the job applications, the last job actually I applied for was 6 years ago, and I was in recovery. I was attending meetings, although not frequently, and I think actually it's one of the areas of my life that I was able to apply faith and the ability to let go to, and I don't know whether that was connected to the fact that I was an arrogant twat that believed a lot, you know, believed in myself too much. But, you know, I did the groundwork, I did my resume, I sent it out to the right people, and I got a few interviews. And a bit like you say, it wasn't a case of going in and saying, right, you need me. It was to say, right, okay, well, what can I do for you? In those situations, and also in deciding where to put the application, I trusted my instinct. And I attended several interviews where I came out and I just thought, well, even if they offered me the job, I know it's not the right thing. And it was the feeling, just that gut feeling, that it just wasn't the right fit. The rest of my life was absolute chaos. I was a workaholic. You know, I was climbing the ladder, and I mean, eventually I found something that was the right fit, seemed like the right thing to do. And ironically, led to my breakdown and my relapse. Now, think of that what you will. But now, you know, I'm an agnostic in all of this. I trusted my instinct with regard to actually going for the job. But when I got there, it was purely a case. It was just constant imposter syndrome, constant grasping, constant, Jesus, why am I here? It taught me kind of when the cracks were showing, and in those cracks, then they opened further when I stopped going to meetings. You know, I wasn't doing recovery action. I was putting everything into this job that I thought that I was meant to be doing.
but actually, I don't know, maybe it was a path to me unraveling. And it led me to the relapse on drugs and then ultimately alcohol. And now my job, if as many people call it that, is as a wife and a mother, because of my health, because of my mental health, because of my physical health. That's what I am at the moment. And in talking about going for jobs and going for interviews, I can provide advice based on my own experience in how to go about going to get a job. And I've done that with members of my family. I've done that with friends. I help people with resumes. I am one of these people with very little experience with the letters after my name. And you know what? For me, they now mean fuck all, because I know that I can walk into somewhere and say, well, I've got this, and this letter after my name. But for me, they don't hold anything anymore. They used to, for my ego, but actually I would rather be authentic to myself rather than rely on my high-profile education when that's not actually authentically who I am. And that really is the truth to kind of bringing me to where I am now. And it's the idea of kind of being stripped down through that process. I've been stripped down to the bare bones of kind of what is me, what is the self, reducing the ego and actually dealing with a lot of shit. And it's really hard. Really, 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 really hard, because I hid behind work. I'm kind of the poster girl for how not to do it, not to do employment, because I hid behind it for 10 years, the first 10 years of my sobriety. And it ruled my life. And not having it now, not having that crutch now, not having the drugs, not having the alcohol, not having the work, and all of those things that people have been saying, apply as much to me as a new mother, albeit of a 13 and a 9-year-old, and somebody looking after a house and being a wife when I was a senior exec of a 30-year-old senior exec. Yeah, okay, there you go. That's a contradiction in terms, letters versus experience. There's no way I should have been in that position. It's very eye-opening, and there's a number of times where Kate read something out and Marla, buddy, read something out, and I'm literally getting a lump in my throat, because I'm like going, I can apply that to now as much as I can anything that when I was looking for a job.
Thanks, Kirsty. That's why I like studying the Taoist, because it is so applicable no matter where we're at in our recovery or in our life, that we can, it speaks to us. I've got a quote here I want to talk about from chapter 63. I put it in the chat. It says that when she runs into a difficulty, talking about the sage, the wise person, she stops and gives herself to it. That whole chapter actually is good with this. We've got about 10 minutes left, so I'm not going to read it, but she runs into difficulty. When she does, any difficulty, she stops and gives herself to it. It's the surrender that we're talking about. It's the letting go. It's that she quits fighting. How many times, cease fighting anything and anyone. Let's see what else I had. Oh, I heard this in an AA meeting the other day. Claire B., she said, go where you're being pushed. I'm like, wow, that's good. I've never heard that before. I'm sure it's been said, go where you're being pushed. I said, that's got to be Tao somewhere. She said, I had to learn to just go where I'm being pushed. I'm like, wow. I resist where I'm being pushed so much I don't even realize it a lot of times, I mean, and it can be just that simple. Maybe, when I was taught to start looking for what I wanted to do in life as far as work goes, to sit down, this is way before meditation or anything, sit down, take a legal pad and start writing what I want to do, what I like, what I enjoy, get down past, what my mother told me I should do or what I saw popular people do or what I saw that was somebody told me would make me a lot of money, and keep working it down until I got to what I really enjoyed and what I really get down to those natural things. So, but I thought this was interesting. I have not found that phrase another way in other Tao stuff, but she says, runs into difficulty. She gives herself to it. Claire says that you go where you're being pushed. Here's a Chuck C quote. If you're about your Father's business, he will be about our business. Sounds Taoist to me. From the Letting Go book, Hawkins says, in the foreword, surrendering and living effortlessly are very closely related. To surrender or live effortlessly, I must believe there is a plan in place that is happening of its own accord without my assistance. I got to believe there's a plan in place happening of its own accord without my assistance. Well, we saw in the Tao that if we open ourselves up, do what's natural, everything's going to fall into place.
Yeah, trust the universe.
Yes, exactly, Marla. Exactly. Just do the next right thing. How many times have I heard that? I could have taken what I heard in the first year of recovery if I'd have just listened to it and did it. But I need to keep hearing it over and over and over again,
Mm-hmm. Women have such bullshit in their heads. As you know, not only do we have an imposter syndrome, not only do I, in my experience, have an imposter syndrome, I was always trying to be somebody else according to who they wanted me to be. So, I have to really work out of that. That's part of the balance of trusting the universe. And, how do I find my authenticity? Is, I got to get rid of all this bullshit that I thought I should be, or I'm not, think I'm not, and get rid of it. This is, oh my goodness, big letting go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huge letting go.
And it's a process, Marla. It's a process. We start where we're at. You eat that elephant one bite at a time, and you let go of what's in front of you to let go. I can't let go of everything that there is at once, but I let go of what's in front of me in the moment. Mm-hmm. I narrow it back down to now in this very moment. Let go of what's in front of me. Do the next right thing. Let go. Do the next right thing. Keep it right here, not out here, I want to read a quote from the big book, which I found that is really effortless effort. It's on page 62, 63. It's talking about the third step. It says, this is the how and why of it. First of all, we had to quit playing God. It didn't work. Next, we decided there hereafter in this drama of life, God was going to be our director. He is the principal. We are his agents. He is the Father. We are his children. Most good ideas are simple, and this concept was the keystone of the new and triumphant arch through which we passed to freedom. When we sincerely took such a position, all sorts of remarkable things followed. That we quit playing God, let God be God and buddy be buddy, We had a new employer. Being all-powerful, he provided what we needed if we kept close to him and performed his work well. Established on such a footing, we became less and less interested in ourselves, our little plans and designs. More and more, we became interested in seeing what we could contribute to life. As we felt new power flow in, as we enjoyed peace of mind, as we discovered we could face life successfully, as we became conscious of his presence, we began to lose our fear. Our fear of today, tomorrow, and the hereafter. We were reborn. So for me, the result of not playing God, letting God be God, me be the child, is I start losing my fear of all this. That's what he said. It wasn't that everything was wonderful. Everything was, rainbows and unicorns, Wasn't that.
Mm-mm.
It was that we lost our fear, so it didn't matter. Because if we lose our fear, it doesn't matter what the fuck's going on. We can face anything. That's the gift. That's the gift.
Yeah.
Man, that's good. Anything else before we close? Okay. Well, you guys have a great week. Hope to see y'all next week. You got anything, Tori?
Good luck, Marla, on your job search. Thank you guys for the meeting.
No, thank you guys so much. Thank you.
Keep us up to date, Marla. Let us know how it comes.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, we'll be back on the 28th chapter next week, I guess, whatever the next one is. So Y'all have a great week.
Thanks.
See ya.
You too. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Tao of Our Understanding Recovery Podcast. For more information about the SRC, go to thesharepodcast.com. Share is spelled SHAIR, and look for the Share Recovery Community link. When you join the SRC, you will be able to participate in this meeting and many more live, plus access to a video library of past meetings and many more benefits for being a part of this growing community. Thanks again for listening, and if you enjoyed this episode, please share this podcast with your friends in recovery.